Now, the world of global finance, it's in turmoil again. No sooner had the G20 countries met in Seoul to try and tackle one problem, the so-called currency wars, than another problem blew up as Ireland's stability looked increasingly shaky. European countries clubbed together to offer the Irish a bailout, which everybody reckons they will have to accept. But Ireland at first replied that no bailout they hoped would be necessary. So what's going on, and should we all be worried? When baffled by global finance, frost over the world often turns to the Singapore-based financier Jim Rogers. And it so happens that this week he was in London, and so I could actually meet him face to face. And first of all, I asked him how he thought the euro, which he's always decrying, is faring.
Well, I own the euro, I want to make sure you understand, but I do expect the euro to continue to have problems. They're continuing to weaken the euro from within. They're now talking about bailing out Ireland, among other people. None of this is good for the euro. None of this is good for Europe. None of this is good for the world.
Who is it good for? Ireland, if it worked, I suppose.
Well, even then, it's just a temporary thing for Ireland. It's because Ireland still has the long-term problem. Maybe this year, next year, they can push it out into the future. But Ireland still has gigantic debt that they have to deal with. And it's going to crimp the Irish economy for decades to come because they spent too much money. Whenever you drink too much, you have a hangover. You have to get over it.
Right.
Whenever you borrow too much, you have to deal with it eventually.
Exactly. And, I mean, were the vague promises, I suppose one could talk about from the G20 and so on. I mean, do you think they're a fudge or a prescription for glory?
David, it's a total fudge.
A total fudge.
We would all be better off if we pay for this. Taxpayers pay for it, and there were more than 20 countries there. There were 30 countries, as best I can determine. We pay for it. It does no good to anybody in the world. We would be better off if they want to get together, let them go to the bar and drink beer, but leave the rest of us alone in this whole fake of having we're all going to meet together and solve the world's problems. It has never worked. Never since the G7, the G8, or the G20.
So what should they do instead?
Leave us alone. Stay home. Let the market take care of the problems. Let people who go bankrupt go bankrupt. Let people who fail fail. And the market will sort out the problems.
Do you approve of the U.S. printing money again?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, right? Yeah.
Totally. Absolutely not. It is the ruination of the United States. It is not doing the world any good. The fact that you're going to debase the world's reserve currency has, David, it has never worked to try to succeed by debasing your currency. Never. Maybe it helps in the medium term sometimes or the short term, but it has never worked in the long. Many people have tried it. It has never worked.
What about the IMF and the World Bank? In a previous conversation, you said, with that refreshing quality of yours, that they should both be abolished. Do you still feel that?
Of course, David. Can you think of anything the World Bank has done properly since 1945? Can you think anything...
Give me time. Give me time.
Can you think of anything the IMF has been right about since it was formed after the Second World War? No. Listen, there are thousands, tens of thousands of bureaucrats around the world living very high off the hog. They have fabulous payrolls, fabulous pension plans, but they've never been right about anything.
For the people who are watching us now, in their own currency, they've got the equivalent of £5,000 they've suddenly inherited or something like that. Where should they invest? Where should they spend it? Reading you between the lines, you're backing commodities above all else, aren't you?
Well, David, people should only invest in things that they themselves know about. If you get investment advice from watching television, you're going to lose money. Don't listen to you. Don't listen to me.
All right.
Don't listen to bureaucrats.
Don't listen to us, right?
Don't listen to bureaucrats.
But carry on watching.
Stay with what you know. Now, the way I see the world, I don't see much happening in stocks in the next little while, because if the world economy gets better, yes, you'll make money in stocks, but you'll make more in commodities because there's shortages developing. But let's say the world economy doesn't get better. You're not going to make money in stocks if the world economy, but you might make money in commodities because governments are going to print money. It's the wrong thing to do, but that's all they know to do. All the bureaucrats know is to print money, print money, print money. And they'll do it. And whenever they've printed money, it's been good for commodities. It's not good for the world, but it's good for commodities.
Well, that's a good summary. It sounds as though it's about as safe and convincing as putting the money on a horse.
Well, I'm not a betting person. I don't like to bet unless I know a lot about what I'm doing, which is rare. But I do find commodities a better place to invest because of what I said. If the world economy gets better, you're going to make money. If it doesn't get better, it's a better place to be.
What should Ireland do? We read about Ireland now as if it's Greece or somewhere like that. What should they do? Should they default?
Yes, Ireland should default. They should reorganize. Whoever made the bad loans is going to have to take a loss, but that's the way the world works. You take your losses and then you start over. Otherwise, pushing the problems out into the future, letting them carry these deadbeats for decades is not going to be good for Ireland or for the world. Let them default. Yes, some people are going to lose some money, David, but that's the way when I make mistakes, can I call you up and let you bail me out? No, of course not.
You can try.
I will. Next time I lose money, I'll call you up. Let them fail. Some of the bondholders are going to lose money. Some of the stockholders are going to lose money, but that's not the end of the world. Then you start over.
Thank you very much. There you have the great man himself speaking from the heart and from the hip.